Hey, ladies and gents, and welcome to episode 21 of the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. As always, I'm joined by the Tennessee Titan, Jordan Jarvis.
Oh, g'day, mate.
And, I don't know, the Great Lakes Bandit. I got nothing. The Dom.
Hello, Governor.
I can't think of anything.
It's your boy, Jiggy.
The Michigan Man. That's all right. So, getting into what we've been playing, it was actually a pretty slow week for me. I didn't really play anything new. Played some Overwatch, played some Smite.
Whoa.
Huh.
We're in a new dimension, Jared. I think we should
Oh, yeah.
we're
First ever video podcast. If you're seeing this is the beta. Might not work. We might have to work on some stuff. But if it all works well, you'll be seeing the video portion on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on SoundCloud or iTunes or wherever you catch the podcast, check it out on YouTube or video podcast now. Well,
this is pre-alpha game footage, so
don't be judging us. There may be a jetpack or two. You don't know. So
unless we're just ugly, then there's really nothing we can do. You might as well judge.
Yeah. Getting into what we've been playing, like I said, it's been a slow week for me. I haven't played anything crazy. Played Overwatch and Smite as usual. A couple of games of gold that came free this week were Tumblestone, which was like an indie game that released, and Tron Evolution. I never watched the movie, never played the game when it came out on 360, so I don't have any impressions of that. But I did play Tumblestone, and wooey, is that a hot pile of garbage. It is.
Tumblestone.
It is not great. It's mindless entertainment, and I don't even think it's entertainment. It's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game that like is reverse Tetris, if that makes sense, of like, or I guess Bejeweled or like Candy Crush would even be a better comparison. Like there's blocks on the screen and you have to do certain patterns to get things off of the screen. The character animations are not great. The map is like a Mario World map, but it's not well done either.
Damn.
It's not a very good game.
Is it an overflowing dumpster outside on a hot New Mexico summer day?
No,
Jesus.
It is definitely playable. It's salvageable, but it's not anything crazy. Like it is what it is. It's a game that you play when you don't feel like playing anything else. Like I was playing it listening to a podcast. Like I like playing games that I don't have to pay attention to too much. So yeah, it's all right. It's not great by any means. I've also been watching. I like
the name at least.
Yeah, it's Tumblestone's a cool name. It just was not very good. Watch Stranger Things. I'm 2 episodes from finishing it. Great show. Came out today of recording that the creators said they were heavily inspired by Silent Hills, the video game. So that's pretty cool. You definitely see that in the monster design of the show. So it's pretty much it for me. What about you guys?
Just a lot more Skyward Sword and Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Nothing really exciting. But unlike the weakling that Jared is, I sat through the entirety of Stranger Things. Literally in one sitting. I got up one time to go to Walgreens and get Twizzlers and came right back and finished it. All 8 episodes.
Hey, I've said before I don't like binge watching things. It's not my thing. I'm not that type of person. I wasn't built like that.
I agree.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
I'm just pulling your leg, but I usually don't do that.
That is
was
insane
weird. It was
to me.
my Sunday. Me and Emily just plopped down and thought, well, let's try
Oh,
this.
she watched it?
Just,
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
She was real into it.
That's awesome. We're definitely going to do a review discussion when we all finish it. Dom's done. I'm 2 episodes away, and Jordan's halfway through, right?
Halfway through, yeah.
So how far are you in Syndicate? Are you pretty far?
Not
very. You've just been dabbling with that in Skyward Sword?
Yeah, I've mostly been playing Skyward Sword. I mean, in Syndicate, I just got the grappling hook, or whatever they call it.
Oh, okay.
From your boy, Alexander Graham Bell.
Cool little side note before we get into what Jordan's been playing. I was reading a list of the top 12 games on Xbox One, and Jordan, you'll be happy to see that Assassin's Creed Syndicate was on that list.
Hell yeah, it was also, in the top 10 when it came out on PS4. So
yeah, that's awesome. So
people still love Assassin's Creed, no doubt about that.
Yeah. What have you been playing, Jordan?
So, unlike the weakling Dom, who succumbs to peer pressure and binge watches everything like such a mainstream fish that he is. Since we're throwing shade,
Wait, it's this.
I like to take it slow and easy on these television and film shows, and with Stranger Things, I am halfway through. I really love it. I think I was telling you guys beforehand that it's totally up there in the upper echelon of Netflix shows like House of Cards and Daredevil, which kind of think Orange is the New Black has fallen out of in the last couple of years, unfortunately. But yeah,
easy. This past season of Orange is the New Black was the best by far.
Okay, I've been teetering on that, dude. I can't figure out if I want to go back for. I didn't watch season 3 either, so I'll have to go back to that.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are not good. I'm not really that into it, but season 4, like,
I only watched season 1. I only watched season 1 and I liked it. I haven't gone back to watch 2 or 3, but yeah.
So really enjoying Stranger Things. Didn't play much games this week at all. Like I went several days without playing, but I did finish Walking Dead season 2, which was way better than the first season in my opinion. There's plenty of stupid characters, but for the most part, I think they're way more interesting, and the story's better, and the decisions are better, and Clem's an awesome protagonist. Can't wait for season 3. So, finish that up.
Walking Dead season 2 spoilers. Tune out if you haven't finished it. Who'd you kill at the end?
Yeah, so I definitely killed Kenny. I accidentally got that spoiled. I got that spoiled because I was looking up. I thought I recognized the Jane voice actor, and it was Christine Lakin, who was on Step by Step in the 90s and appeared on the Game Over Greggy show. So I looked up who was the voice for Jane, and ended up seeing, did you kill Kenny or Jane on like some forum on Google. So yeah, and which is like weird that I got spoiled off of Jane voice actor, Walking Dead Jane voice actor in a Google search.
I killed Kenny too, so
yeah, dude, he became such a dick. Like, everyone loses people, dude. You can't just be an asshole.
So I killed Kenny too, but then when I found out that Jane had actually just hid the baby and didn't actually lose it, I was like, oh wow, I wish I hadn't killed Kenny. You're a manipulative bitch. Like,
no, I like that because she wanted to show that Kenny was a crazy bastard. Yeah.
Also, I wanted to kill Kenny since season 1. Just to be honest with you, I did not like that character from the beginning.
Shout out, that's the voice actor of Zeke in Infamous.
Yeah, he's a cool character. I didn't like him from the beginning, so I was like, finally, I can get rid of him.
Dude, I love Jane. You guys don't watch Fear the Walking Dead, do you?
No.
That show was terrible, and I just caught up with it. It's halfway through season 2, and it's awesome now. I don't know how the fuck they turned it around, but anyways. One thing characters I love in The Walking Dead are the ones that kill zombies and then put the zombie guts on their body to make them smell like zombies. And obviously Rick and Glenn did that in season 1. Then Jane does it in the game. And there's a dude who does it a lot in Fear the Walking Dead. So those are the type of people I love in Walking Dead. I want people who are like badass survivors instead of like, oh, woe is me, all these zombies, I don't know what to do. Like, you're in this world, figure it out.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, besides that, I finished up Entwined. Short game, like I said last week, but kind of fuck this game because it's pretty damn mediocre. I didn't really love it at all. It was like, I think the controls, I didn't play it on PS4, it was all Vita, but it is like cross-buy, cross-save. I think they might have been better on PS4 because it didn't seem like they were really good at the sensitivity of the Vita sticks. Like, they didn't develop that fully, the devs. So, the Vita sticks are obviously very different than the PS4 sticks. So, I wish that game had been a little bit better. The music was cool, the visuals are cool. But yeah, kind of lackluster. But finished that up, got the trophies and all that. And then, like I said, hadn't been playing many games, so been reading a shit ton. Been catching up on Walking Dead and Invincible, and I'm about to read Walking Dead 75, so that's getting real good.
Awesome.
And reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire still, so about to finish that up.
Sweet.
Fun fact. As a kid, I was not allowed to read Harry Potter books.
I had a lot of friends like that.
So that's a funny history there. I was like...
Don't know why.
My family was kind of weird on it. Like, the preacher that we went to, at the church we went to, said that he was like, you know, son of Satan and all this stupid shit. And then we went, like, half of my family went to see the movie and then half of them didn't. And then ended up reading the book and I was like, damn, dude, like, there isn't a bunch of devil shit in this. It's just a book, you know?
Yeah.
So...
So let's get right into the news here. The first story, I want to start off on a more somber note, and then we'll go on to all the cool news, but I wanted to talk about it because it is important. So this comes away with Game Informer. Kyle writes about pro skier Matilda Rapoport died during a promotional film shoot for Ubisoft Steep, which is coming out later this year.
Rest in peace.
And they basically stated, we are deeply saddened to learn the death of Matilda Rapoport, the remarkable Swedish free skiing athlete. During a video production in Chile on Thursday, July 14th, Matilda was caught in an avalanche. Despite the medical care and treatment over the subsequent days, it was not possible to save her life. Matilda's courage, passion, and desire to share the sport she loved with the world served as an inspiration for other athletes and for all of us. This tragic accident has deeply touched us. Our hearts and prayers go out to her husband and her wider family at this difficult time. So, it's unfortunate news. She seemed like a super awesome extreme sports person. That stuff, there's never any safe bets with that stuff. You got to be on your guard 100% of the time.
Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure they took all the necessary precautions, but I mean, you can't predict nature. That's just the way it works.
Yep.
And I really hope that they do something really cool in the game for her. Pay tribute to her in some way. Maybe have like some kind of in memory thing at the beginning of the game. Maybe have her as I think it'd be awesome if she was on the cover of the game. That'd be really awesome. I don't know. I just think they can turn this into a positive somehow.
That would be really cool if she was like the cover athlete, even though this isn't really a cover athlete type of game.
Yeah, I think just to pay tribute to her and have some kind of legacy there, like, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, she isn't super involved with the game. She was only doing a promo shoot, but she is involved because she's a free skier, and this game is all about extreme, like, snow sports, right? So I think paying tribute to her in some way would be really awesome for her family and just for all of her fans and for her as well. So, unfortunately, our condolences go out to her family, and that really sucks. So on some, I hate to switch it so drastically, but on some really awesome news, if you haven't been paying attention to Kickstarter, and if you're not familiar with System Shock is essentially the game that got BioShock into what it was. System Shock was the first in that series or in that franchise, and people love that game. I personally never had a chance to play the game. It's a pretty old game, but people love it. They say it has the atmosphere. It has basically everything people love about BioShock, the original BioShock. System Shock had that first, but technology was able to make BioShock, make that vision a little bit better. The cool thing is there's a team, actually, Night Dive Studios, is working on a remake of System Shock for current-gen consoles. And they have a really good team. Their team has worked on the original System Shock, so there's some familiarity there. Thief, the original Thief that everyone loved. BioShock Infinite, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim, World of Warcraft, PlanetSide 2, Star Trek Online, and Warcraft 2. So they have a team that has a lot of experience in games. And the really cool thing is, so this was originally only going to be coming out for Windows and Xbox One. But they actually got such a fervor of PS4 players saying that we want this on PS4, obviously. And they actually immediately stated that they were overwhelmed with the response, and it's coming to PS4 the same day it launches for Xbox One and Windows. So it's awesome for them listening to the fans.
Hell yeah.
They're trying to reach a goal of 900K. They're over 1 million. They're 1.1 million right now. 6 days to go, over 17,000 backers. It's really cool. They had some interesting stretch goals. They didn't have a lot of them. I think they're playing this really well. And people are wondering why this is kickstarted. This is just a game that I think a big publisher wouldn't even want to even try to remake. I don't think they understand the importance to people, and it doesn't. I don't think this is a game that could get published. That's the easiest way to put it. These are the type of games that I am the most comfortable with through Kickstarter. They aren't the new IP that no one's familiar with, but it's a really cool idea. So there's basically no promise there. You don't have a connection with that studio, or that studio doesn't have a connection with an audience, and you're not sure if they're even going to have the product be made. Games like this, where it's a team, kind of like the Ukulele team, where they're teams that have worked on games forever. They just want to make a game that nobody wants to publish, kind of like Bloodstained or Ukulele in this. I think it's a really cool avenue. These are the games I like seeing kickstarted. So
yeah.
Are you guys excited for this, to play System Shock? I am. I heard this game was fantastic, and I never got a chance, so...
I'm getting interested in this because being a huge BioShock fan, I'd always heard about System Shock and System Shock 2 being kind of the spiritual successors to, or predecessors, I should say, to BioShock. And obviously, I think Ken Levine worked on System Shock 2, so creator of BioShock series. Yeah, I've always kind of heard about them being connected to the BioShock series and thought, it would be cool to go back to the roots of one of my favorite
Also,
game
the
series.
concern people have is it's such an old game. Can they make it for modern times? Go play Doom that came out this year. That'll answer that question for you.
Oh,
Like that. This game came out in
what's up.
1994. If they can do what id did, which they're not id obviously, but they already have like gifs and like early work that they have of the game, and it looks gorgeous. It looks really cool. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited to hear the music because BioShock, even Infinite, I really like the music that they put into those games, and I'm interested to see how this goes. So they're obviously hit their Kickstarter, and good luck to them. Any words on System Shock, Dom? Are you excited? Do you want to play this?
I have my watchful little eye on this game because I love BioShock 2, so I'm curious what the story is here. What's the deal with this System Shock?
Yeah, I think this is
kids are calling it.
This goes back to something we talk about almost every week of like sometimes old games are hard to play. Like you should go back to play old games because they're basically pillars in the video game industry and as it grows. But like sometimes old games are hard to play. So if they can get remade for modern standards, but they still keep that feel of the original, and the heart. So we'll see.
Sometimes I will say it's interesting to go back to old games that are difficult to play because of the old controller support or whatever it may be. But it's also kind of in some ways important as a gamer if you're really into it because you kind of see where we've been and how far we've come and how much better controls have been. Like think about how controls are great today. Controllers are great today, and it really hasn't always been that way,
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's if you're willing to do that, it's necessary, but it's not something you should have to like.
Sure.
Kill yourself over.
You don't need to do that to get your gamer card or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But it is. I do agree with you. It's cool to see it because, for instance, like with Dom going back to play the original Zelda, it gives you an idea of where things are now in comparison and how things change. So.
Yeah.
The next story here, the Xbox One S arrives August 2nd, this being the 2 terabyte model. It's coming a lot sooner than a lot of people anticipated. They said August, but people didn't know it was going to be this soon. This is obviously the first week, the second day of August. Cool thing, pre-orders are still available for it. It's the slimmer, sleeker one. For me personally, I'm not even interested in buying it just because of Project Scorpio. The funny thing is that I was actually thinking about getting this until I heard about the trade-in program for Scorpio. And I was like, there's literally no need for me to buy this now because I'll just keep this old Xbox One traded in for the Scorpio. But I was actually thinking about buying this just because it's a slimmer model. And I don't need another Xbox One right now. It's not really more powerful. But we've had these things since like launch or close to it. It sounds like a jet plane sometimes. It doesn't run as good as it can. It's kind of in that state where as much as Red Ring sucked, it was good getting it. For me, most of the time I didn't even get it replaced. I got a brand new console, and like a brand new console runs way better than one that's slightly used or even a little bit used. So,
well, it may run like a jet plane, but the Xbox 360 really sounded like a jet plane. So,
yeah,
never forget.
Yeah, and it's not always, but it does run like a console I've had for 3 years.
So you're definitely thinking of upgrading to Scorpio. Big boy. I mean,
it's not a. I guess it is a definite. It's a. I am doing it.
Okay.
It's a for certain. I'm getting Project Scorpio.
Maybe not day one, but you're doing it.
Oh, it might be day one.
Okay.
So couple things with this. Isn't it kind of weird that on August 2nd the 2 terabyte version is up for sale, but that's all we know? I mean, why wait another week or however long?
So people will spend more money.
Odd.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, you advertised it as $300 and then people go to the store and it's $400. I don't know. It just seems a little weird. I don't know. And this whole thing, I think it was odd that they announced Scorpio this early still because that's what everyone's saying is like, well, I'm not going to buy the 1S because I'm going to wait for Scorpio, which is fine if you're going to, buy Scorpio. They still get your money. But
I agree with you there.
It's for new people. Like I feel like it's more for people who don't have an Xbox One at all yet might pick this up.
I think they're better off. I don't think the Scorpio announcement was a mistake or it was early. I think maybe them having both of them in the same show was. See, the thing is it's like a two-way street of like. So if they didn't talk about Project Scorpio and they announced this and people bought this, then people would be super mad next year when they announced Scorpio. I think they should have announced Scorpio and then maybe just played off the Xbox One S afterwards, right? As like a footnote at the conference later on. I think the Scorpio is definitely the more important of the two because if they just announced the S and then people buy it this fall and then they hear about another Xbox One next fall, they're going to see. At least both of them are out there and you can make the decision either way instead of only knowing about one and getting jaded with the other. So
either way you go, you risk. Some people aren't going to be happy.
I think the best solution was announcing both of them because if you pick one over the other, I think it'd be a worse crap storm essentially.
Jared, you said you're definitely upgrading. I guess you don't really care that you don't have a 4K TV, right?
No. So
you're just kind of doing it for like the better processing and stuff like that?
Yeah, better gaming experience. Plus, like I said, I could just use a new console.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus, and if I'm going to buy a new console, I'm not going to get the Xbox One S. I'm just going to get the Scorpio. So
almost certainly the next TV you buy will be a 4K TV.
Yeah, more than likely.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Whether it be a year from now or 2 or 3 years from now, it's like
I agree.
Almost guaranteed.
It'll be at the point where it's like standard. So
right.
What do you guys think about the Gears of War Xbox One S?
I love it. It is super
Jared
cool.
predicted, of course.
Yeah, I predicted it. It wasn't announced at the Xbox conference for E3, but I did predict it.
Yep.
And I think it's cool. I think the argument people are having it's way too in your face. That's what for me. That's what a custom console or a video game console should be. Yeah. The subtle stuff's cool, but I mean, usually those are for super fans, So.
Yeah, I like it. Is the controller the one that they showed off at E3, the Elite?
No, I don't think it's an Elite. I think it's just the one with Bluetooth.
Okay, but it is Gears of War at least.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say real quick. I don't want to get on a conversation of it. It can be a topic for another day. Now that I've been thinking about it, I really think Crackdown 3, the reason they're holding off on it and not talking about it is because I think that they want that to be their big thing for Scorpio. I think maybe they're retooling that game to work more and be more powerful. And I think that could be next year. It's like Project Scorpio. Oh, yeah, and Crackdown 3 is going to be a launch title on it.
So they're going to use that whole cloud gaming thing they got going on?
Yeah, I think they're getting quiet on it because they want to restructure the game for it to be worthy of being on Project Scorpio. I think it'll be available on Xbox One because you figure they announced it so early, they already have it working on that platform. But I think they're waiting because they want to retool it so there can be a reason to get the Project Scorpio version,
They've definitely said that all the games are going to be playable on both, though, right?
Yeah, they're going to be playable on both, but I'm saying I don't know how it's going to work. I think they're just retooling it so it works at optimal performance also for the Scorpio.
Yeah.
So that way those tiers are in place. The next story here, this is a real quick one. It's a follow-up to a follow-up. We've talked about Valve talking about shutting down the CSGO gambling sites. Yes. They officially sent a cease and desist notice. I'm going to read you guys the statement real quick, and then we can move on to the next story. So this is exactly what they sent, and below this was a list of all of the websites. There was like 15 of them. We are aware that you are operating one of the gambling sites listed below. You are using Steam accounts to conduct this business. Your use of Steam is subject to the terms of the Steam Subscriber Agreement, the SSA. Under the SSA, Steam and Steam services are licensed for persona non-commercial use only. Your commercial use of Steam accounts is unlicensed and in violation of the SSA. You should immediately cease and desist further use of your Steam accounts for any commercial purposes. If you fail to do this within 10 days, Valve will pursue all available remedies, including without limitation, terminating your accounts.
Damn.
Yeah, so I got kind of mad at Valve the last couple episodes saying that they need to do something about this, and maybe this is very cause and effect-y when they should have done it before everything happened, but at least they got straight to the point. They sent a cease and desist, and they're like, you have 10 days to figure it out. If not, we'll figure it out for you. So props to them for fixing the solution. They still should go back to being a game dev company and work on games that people really want to play. The next story here, Nintendo NX, which is going to be my topic later in the show, will help industry to grow, take a lot of casual players back, says Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot.
Nice!
The next Nintendo console, currently going by codename Nintendo NX, has yet to be revealed to the public. During Ubisoft's financial conference call for the first quarter of fiscal year 2016 to 17, which makes sense they're talking about the NX because NX is slated for March. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot talked about the Nintendo NX, stating that what they've seen so far for the console is really great. He also notes how having this machine coming is going to help the industry grow, as well as take a lot of the casual players and put them back into the industry. This final statement is definitely interesting, as it seems to suggest that the console will have some sort of feature that will attract casual players, like the Wii console did a few years back. I think the hook for this console is going to be that it's a handheld that can also be a console. I think as we keep going on, that makes more and more sense. The way you attract a casual audience, as you see in the Pokemon Go, is you make something very mobile and very simple, and nothing's more simple than a console that's mobile, that is plug and play into your TV, right?
Yeah.
If you're able to play something mobily, and then, I want to play it on my TV, and it's as simple as plugging one thing into your TV. How that'll work, it'll probably be two things, because you probably need a power outlet. I don't know. But...
Well, picture this. Like, you have a part of it that's always plugged into your TV.
Yeah. Well, the way I think about it is the Apple speakers. You know the Apple speakers where it's like a thing that sits there, and then whenever you want to use it, you just put your iPhone or iPod in it, and it works?
Yes.
I think it would be like that.
Yes, Jared. The most popular MP3 player of all time is called the iPod.
Yeah. So I think it'll be like that. It'll be maybe a hub station. But I think they're talking about the casual hook, and I really think the casual hook is going to be a mobile device that you can take everywhere, but easily plugs into your thing. I think that's going to be the big thing. Is this is also a television console, so we'll see.
I don't know. I don't think that's casual. Like, the casual market is doing all that on their, well, not all that, but they're being casual on their smartphones.
Yeah,
and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, this would have been a casual, hit maybe 5-10 years ago, but I mean, that's why 3DS and Vita sales are, sliding down a hill right now. So I don't think that the mobile I think you're right. It's going to be something like that, but I don't know if it's going to work out the way they want. I don't think it's like casual. I mean, because they're going to market it all screwy. No, let's be honest.
Damn.
They're not going to know what to say about it. I don't have high hopes.
And also, we don't know what the casual gamer wants, because we're not really that. And I'm not trying to put us above them, but like what we want out of stuff is completely different than somebody else. Like we'll see.
Yeah.
So before we get into the last story, Jordan, you have a couple of stories for us.
So today I have a story from IGN that was written by the Dark Knight of News himself, Andy Goldfarb, and it is talking about the Rise of the Tomb Raider 20th Year Celebration Edition, which has just been announced for the PS4, coming out on October 11th.
About time.
And I've talked a bunch on this show about where the hell is the release date for this game. Not super in love with Uncharted, and this is what is going to satiate that appetite for the adventure game, the third-person action adventure. And a bunch of people were speculating, talking about whether this game was going to be $60 when it came on PS4, whether or not it was going to have all the DLC included. And then, they just blow it out with this big infographic. Not only are we getting it for $60 with all the DLC included, but they're also adding a ton of stuff. There's a new co-op endurance mode. They've already had endurance, but now it's co-op. There's a nightmare chapter that's probably going to be pretty short, but you play as Laura in a nightmare. There's another level where you walk around Croft Manor, and you have to...
PSVR.
Yeah, you have to prove that you are the rightful heir of the Croft Manor, and that will also... You can play it just regular PS4, but it will also have PSVR compatibility. New difficulties, new in-game models, so you can play as like the really old-school Laura from like the first... games that are really blocky and weird polygons, and then you get a bunch new outfits for Laura, which I was actually really into in the first game, just because they look really cool and they give you some changeability with your character, even though it's not really an RPG in that sense. So
Jordan,
yeah,
Laura or Lara?
It's Lara.
Okay, thought I heard you say Laura in there.
I might have. It's not interchangeable, but they're so close. Lara Croft, Lara. Good point on the
LC
grammar
to
there,
the
Dom.
oft.
I am a stickler Yes, I'm a stickler on grammar, so I like you keeping me on my toes.
They didn't have to do that, so that's awesome. They didn't have to.
They really didn't, dude. It could have been $60, and then you got to buy the whole season pass and the extra stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited about this. October 11th, I think. Didn't we talk about it coming out in November when it was supposedly leaking? Yeah. So I'm super excited about this. This is perfect timing. Like right after Final Fantasy 15 and Mafia 3. So yeah, can't wait, man.
I think this game, I don't know. I was going to say something, but I don't know if it's true. I was going to say I think this game might sell better on PS4 than Mafia 3 does.
Probably. I think,
yeah,
dude, it's going to be big on PS4. I think they were stupid to go with Xbox. Maybe they got paid enough, but who knows?
Yeah, I think it really bothered me the way people were complaining about it and getting mad at the company. It's like a company, they're not the first company to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You should be happy that they did this. Like, they didn't have to do any of this.
Yeah, this is
They went out of their way to be like, hey, PlayStation gamers, we know it sucks for you to have to deal with this because you didn't make your decision knowing that this was going to happen, yada, yada. Yeah. But we'll make it worth the wait. So that's cool.
It's a very, very cool package that they put together, and like I said, they really blew it out, man. I mean, lots and lots and lots of content. I can't wait. I'll be pre-ordering. Dom, you're a big Uncharted fan. Are you going to be playing this, day one?
Probably not. I'll probably wait for it to go on sale. I mean, I could have bought this on PC for the last 6 months or whatever, so yeah. I want to play it eventually, but I probably won't drop $60 on it, but we'll see.
Okay. So then I have another story, but real quick I wanted to mention, I just talked about Final Fantasy 15, and we've talked about the Uncovered event and all the different multimedia stuff they're doing. They just announced today, a lot of people were wondering if they would do this with Final Fantasy. It's like a classic-looking version of the Final Fantasy games, and it's a little kind of DLC game that is a story that Noctis is being told as a child, and so you play as young Noctis with a little party, and it looks like a 1632-bit type of game, and coming out the same day as Final Fantasy 15. It looks awesome.
It looked cool. I saw it.
Yeah.
A
lot of people have been saying they should do the big, of course, open world RPG Final Fantasies, but also on the side maybe do like some I Am Setsuna style stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. And then the big story here is Metal Gear Solid 3 Pachinko. Of course, there was the big hullabaloo last year with Konami and Kojima that they had this big tizzy. Silent Hill got canceled with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro. And then Metal Gear Solid 5 came out incomplete. It wasn't even a full game. They had to give you this random animatic of what the final mission would have looked like. And then the last 5 or 10 were just repeats of other missions on harder difficulties. So big issues between Konami and Kojima. Wouldn't even let him accept his game award last December. So tons of BS going on there. Now we get this news story that they're making these pachinko machines, which everyone knows Konami does a bunch of other things in video games. Pachinko is a big part of that. And they're doing a Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater pachinko machine. They're really doing a big thing with this. They're making a big deal over in Japan. And what they've done is they've taken a bunch of these cutscenes from Metal Gear Solid 3 and completely remade them in the Fox engine, which was the engine for Metal Gear Solid 5 that made it look so incredibly gorgeous. And so they have all these remade cutscenes from Snake Eater that look incredible. One of my favorite Metal Gear Solid games, right up there with MGS5 and Peace Walker. Those are my top 3 probably. And they've released 2 trailers now for this pachinko machine, and Games Radar is the story I'm reading here. People are starting to speculate that maybe these remade cutscenes in this pachinko game are actually from either a canceled MGS3 remake or an MGS3 remake that is currently in production, but they just haven't announced yet. So there's a few tweets here. Richard Stanton says, all the noobs that dissed Konami for making an MGS3 pachinko machine can now eat their words. Look at that shit. Greatest pachinko machine ever. Also, Konami is clearly remaking MGS3. Look at the amount of footage. Someone else, Xiaomu Arisu, says, wouldn't it be cool if we actually got an MGS3 remake in the Fox engine? Not with this Konami, though. And then this other guy, Joe Gibbs, says, very worrying possibility that this is all reused footage from a potentially canceled MGS remake. And yeah, like these guys said, there's a ton of footage here. One of the trailers is just a couple minutes, but the other one is 7 minutes long, and it probably has 4 or 5 minutes of these cutscenes that they've fully remade. Like I said, they're looking incredible, and MGS3 is an awesome game. I'm really, really, really hoping that this isn't from a canceled remake. I know you guys aren't huge Metal Gear Solid fans, but I would so love if we got this game remade, especially for PS4. Maybe even on Neo. It would look amazing. What do you guys think?
I don't have too much to say about it. I think it's wishful thinking to think that it's something that's currently in development. If Konami has told you anything, it's that they don't care. And I really think this is just repurposing old assets. I think they're clearly not interested in winning over gamers. I mean, that could be the one case. If they are interested in winning over gamers, then they would be coming out with the remake. But I think this is just repurposing assets. I think it's like, we tried doing a Metal Gear remake. Let's just put these on a pachinko machine. It'll make money, whatever.
Repurposing assets, though, the amount of footage speaks to the fact that they would have had to be very far in. So it almost feels like you're saying they're kind of nonchalant about it. Like, oh, let's just toss this in there. I just feel like it would have had to be a big thing for them to have gotten this far into a remake and then end up not releasing it. I feel like if they used... Like, if these cutscenes are from an MGS3 remake, it will come out because they have to be that far into it.
Yeah, I hope it's either really bad or it doesn't sell well. Like,
ouch, dude! I want to play that game!
It has nothing to do with the game. It's that company, I just lost all respect for that company, and I could...
but don't you want them to make good games? Like, they even said, we're going to keep making Metal Gear, so this could be what they're talking about. Don't you want them to make good Metal Gear?
Well, first of all, I don't really care about Metal Gear to begin with, so that could probably be the point of which I'm coming across as.
But I mean, even games you don't care about, don't you want them to be good?
Yeah, I wish somebody else had the rights to Metal Gear. I have zero respect for Konami, man. I
definitely don't respect them. I would just like to see this.
I mean, this can be a topic another day, and we can dig into it. But I have no idea, like, what Konami did. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like there's just so much ambiguity here, and people just are really hating on this company. I just want to know, like, what exactly, like, verifiably documented they did, I guess.
Well,
but, yeah, another
no
day.
one knows what went on between them and Kojima, but it is the fact that they kept him from going to the VGAs last December. They canceled Silent Hill when it was obviously going to be a big thing with Guillermo and Norman, and then they, boggled the release of MGS5, made it come out early, and they had all these bad microtransactions in that game that were really money grubby, and people didn't like that either. There's a bunch of other tiny little things, but I think they did plenty to warrant the whole "fuck Konami" hashtag.
Yeah, I hate to say it like that, Jordan. Like, Metal Gear is a really awesome series that I hope people love that franchise. So
yeah,
I don't.
MGS3 is one of the best.
Yeah, I'm not saying that from a point of I don't want that game to exist. I'm saying it from, like, I wish the money was going in somebody else's pocket other than Konami. So.
Honestly, I think, I've lost all respect, but I mean, I've lost respect for plenty of companies, EA and Activision. I don't have a lot of respect for very many publishers in the industry besides the first parties, really, and I definitely lost Nintendo respect, but I wish, I would like for them to regain our trust and regain our respect, because they could, they fucked over somebody, but, Capcom fucked over Iga.
They should just start talking then. That's a problem, is they're letting everyone else control their message,
Yeah, so I hope that maybe 10 years in the future, Konami is really back into video games, and they are making awesome stuff, and they are being respectful to the creators that help make their games.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hopefully that happens for the sake of
I hope this remake comes out, I really hope that it wasn't canceled, because that would be so sad with the amount of footage that they have.
Really quick, we've gone on quite a bit for news, so this is just gonna be a really quick thing. Basically, this comes from Ars Technica. It's been reported other places. This comes from Kyle over at Ars Technica. The patented super formula that could cause a legal headache for No Man's Sky, and essentially goes into there was a super formula that was created in 2002. It was basically received a patent, and it's a mathematical formula that allows for like the generation of stuff, geometric transformation formula. So essentially, the short part of the story, I'm going to condense it, is that this formula is created. People are allowed to use it as long as they get permission. And apparently, it's rumored that No Man's Sky, or what they're saying is that Jenny kept saying that No Man's Sky used this formula without their permission, which is a huge thing, obviously.
Especially since that game is all about the
algorithm
mathematics. That's why it's got such a small file size.
So we'll see what happens with this in the coming days. The game's gone gold, but if there's some kind of lawsuit that comes through with using Creative Commons and stuff like that, we'll see. This is big, so this could just be somebody blowing hot air just to try to get some attention. Maybe it has nothing to do with anything. But as far as this article, if you want to check it out, it'll be in the description down below in the news part of the YouTube video. It goes into in depth what exactly happened, when the formula was made, all of that stuff. It goes in depth. It also has some really cool things talking about how if this did go to court, how the Supreme Court would rule on it with algorithm patents and stuff like that. So it's a very cool, detailed article. So if you want to get into that, definitely check it out. But yeah, some bad news for No Man's Sky if this is true. So we'll see what happens.